The Tokyo Game Show demo of Dead Rising is undoubtedly the most famous and recognizable of all. Why? That's a good question. So, before I started making videos of Dead Rising's beta history, the TGS demo wasn't really considered to be that interesting. Really, the main thing people cared about was that awesome red HUD. This was because there wasn't that much known about the TGS build, and there wasn't much footage either. However, after making multiple videos over the years expressing my apparent interest in this build, TGS has now become a catchphrase in the community. It's now considered to be the holy grail of all Dead Rising builds, or at least that's what people are saying. But why? Is it just a long-running joke that spawned out of the community? Well, maybe not. My comment section is full of people asking if we'll ever get this build one day. To be quite honest, my personal holy grail would be the E3 2005 demo, because of just how radically different it is. But I've explained many times that there's a pretty serious issue with the E3 build, because not only would it be insanely unlikely that someone has it, the issue is E3 2005 ran on early alpha hardware, and there is so few of those in the Xbox community, and those cost several $1,000s. So of course the next best thing is any other build from 2005, and what else could be more interesting than the TGS build? At least it has a chance of surfacing one day. But because everyone has such a fascination with TGS, today I'm going to show you exactly what the TGS build of Dead Rising was, and hopefully bring some meaning to it. And with any luck, hopefully bring more awareness of this build to the public, in case someone out there watching has it. And if you do, let me know. Now, to get a better understanding of what the TGS demo is, I'm going to analyze various forms of TGS footage, and break down for you all what exactly this demo was, because while the beta archive on the forum has a stupidly in-depth article on TGS and every build, I'm aware not all my viewers have read my article there or even know this forum exists. So a good portion of my viewers only know a little bit about this so-called TGS demo from what I've shown on this channel. So we have to break down what we formally know as the TGS demo into two separate builds. The reason for this is simple. There were many versions of the game shown in 2005 that very closely resembles what was shown to the public in Tokyo, so it can get pretty confusing as to which build is the TGS demo and which isn't. The build of Dead Rising where people are pointing their cameras at a TV is obviously the public build. Now this is the definitive TGS, this is the one everyone talks about, but it goes much further than that. Because in 2005 there were occasions where we saw multiple builds that resembled TGS, but actually had nothing to do with it. Specifically the trailer of the game that was unveiled at Tokyo Game Show. Now this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the demo shown in Tokyo. In fact, the trailer was likely produced months before the demo was created. So the public demo that was shown was a small 10-minute portion of what Capcom was actually working on behind the scenes shown in the trailer. So with the confusion of the build history out of the way, and I know it's confusing, let's dive into the public version of the demo, because that's the one most people are referring to when they say TGS. So first of all, one of the most important things of the TGS demo just has to be Concourse. Now, Concourse is the name of the main mall area where you would actually spawn. Does it look familiar at all? Yes, it does. And that's because Concourse is actually the very early concept, or at least a reimagining of North Plaza, without all the scaffolding and tools. However, not only that, Concourse is interestingly a mix of a few different areas, because while the overall plaza looked like North Plaza, the ceiling had those flags from Entrance Plaza, and like I've mentioned in a few previous videos, Even the floor was taken from Entrance Plaza. And one of the weirdest things about Concourse is that to the complete left-hand side, we can see that the hardware store was here instead of the Wonderland hallway, which is crazy to think that you could be fighting zombies in the hardware store and see the supermarket directly across. Now, of course, we also want to look at Concourse itself, which is a stage that has cemented itself in the community as one of the best looking mall areas of the game. Because since it's such a small area, the detail in it is more pronounced, especially with this giant tree in the middle. Now, why is this so important? Why does a tree matter? Well, if you hop into North Plaza today, you'll see that this tree has been reduced to a concrete slab. Now, this thing was supposed to be a clock. You can see this in the concept art of North Plaza, but the way it's actually presented in-game is awful. Also, that nice grass beneath the tree has now become a boring old pond. You know, as if Dead Rising doesn't already have enough ponds, here's another one. Concourse is a big reason why the Dead Rising community loves the TGS demo so much, because clearly Capcom had the possibility to give us a really nice version of North Plaza, but instead opted for this construction site, and the community will forever hold a grudge for that. Another thing that people absolutely love about the TGS demo is, of course, Frank's early model. Now, to be fair, he isn't nearly as early and goofy looking as his E3 version, which we call Ogre Frank, but TGS Frank is still very early. He still has that turtleneck sweater. And here's the cool thing. Here's something I've been waiting to reveal on this channel for a while. Thanks to the early builds that I found back in 2016, for some reason, 2 of them contained the actual TGS Frank. It's all here. I don't know why, but here it is. So we don't have to carefully watch TGS gameplay to get a close look at Frank. We can get him in crisp detail right here. Now, I'm not going to say this version of Frank looks better than his final version. This Frank still looks really goofy, but it's amazing to see that this was one of the original ideas of Frank West. Could you believe that if Capcom decided to stick with this Frank, our idea of Frank's leather jacket and white shirt wouldn't exist? All the cosplayers would be wearing a turtleneck sweater and spray tan. After this, he became pre-E3 Frank, which is my personal favorite, and then of course he became Final Frank. It's a good thing Frank evolved the way he did. The next and most obvious reason why people love the TGS demo is that amazing, extremely flashy red HUD. Some people have argued that the final game's HUD is just very minimalist and very boring. I mean, it works just fine. It was actually the best outcome, the culmination of all the game's early HUD ideas into one. But if anyone wanted something more flashy, it doesn't get any more extravagant than this. At this point in development, there were only 6 blocks of health, no less and no more. You started the game with 6 and ended with 6. In fact, the 0.50 build still only has 6 blocks of health, even if you're level 50. Some interesting things is that the inventory was on the bottom right of the screen instead of the top right. Of course, this was possible due to the early builds of Dead Rising not having a kill counter in the way. And again, thanks to the earlier builds, I was able to find the actual TGS HUD in the files, and I pieced all the sprites together here. For some weird reason, the demo had blue blocks of health in the sprite file, which I guess went unused, since I haven't seen it ever appear in gameplay footage. And lastly, I think the reason why there's so much hype about this build and so much hope that it might one day surface is because there is a lot about the game's development at this point that we don't know. There's a lot of mystery surrounding 2005 builds in general. However, through analyzing the footage and images for over 4 years now, as well as reading a bunch of reviewer articles, there is a lot of mysteries that have been solved, a lot of which was aided by finding files relating to TGS in earlier builds. Find the woman and get info about the zombies? Yeah, that's not a mystery anymore. I've uncovered that this means go to Sion's, talk to Kent, he reveals that the woman was brought into the butcher shop, so then you would then go to this door here, which would play an early cut cinematic, which was called TGS SF05. The cutscene would involve Larry holding Isabella capture. We know this because I found a screenshot of the cutscene in 0.50's files. You would then fight Larry and save Isabella, and presumably the demo would then end. Now right there, that's already more than we've ever known about TGS 2005. But there's still so much we don't know. Think about it. Isabella was in the butcher shop. Clearly this story as a whole is different. And that's what we don't know. Why was Jesse attacked in the maintenance tunnels? Where was Brad? Where was Carlito? Where the hell did this hallway lead to? This, above all, is why we love TGS so much, because it may just be a 10-minute demo, but the TGS demo is almost the reason for my channel. This build, this random demo, has provided the community with so many questions. Dead Rising as a whole is one of the most complicating and interesting games I've ever messed around with. I feel like I can make unlimited videos on Dead Rising's beta history because there is so much to talk about, and you know, I don't think Capcom could have ever expected that. Luckily, I have all of you to watch these videos and bring some meaning to the madness. Thanks for watching, and of course, subscribe for more.